Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran. You asked for it and now I get to deliver. A lot of you guys have been showing up to the streams, and every time you see me play my Frost Death Knight, there's a flurry of questions comes out as to what is my talent build, what is the new rotation for this new playstyle, and where is Breath of Sindragosa? I'm not gonna lie, Breath of Sindragosa, while a cool talent to play with, it's one of those talents and one of those key abilities that was a massive turn off for me when picking up Frost Death Knight for Battle for Azeroth. Coming out of Legion, you were basically pitted to only play Breath as your only viable choice for patches and raids and patches and raids until now. So in this video, I want to showcase the Ice Cap build for Frost Death Knights, or some of you guys that played DK before might know this as the Rapid Fire build, and essentially what I do with my Frost DK from the guides and the guidance that I have been given. Now, I did do a video showcasing another spec a while ago, and that was when essences were first introduced and fire mages straight up just took off. So in this video, I want to showcase Frost in a very similar way as I made that original video. It's not really a guide, but rather things that I do to make my Frost Death Knight feel great and showcase some of the specs that I have been genuinely enjoying. What's great about this spec is, first of all, you can lose the whole Breath playstyle. Even though Breath is good in some cases, and still as Frost Death Knight mains, you should still use Breath if it's a better build for a situation. However, in a variety of situations, the Ice Cap build can be just as competitive. The first thing that's great about this new build is the critical strike and haste focus. What is great about this build, because it's not heavily about mastery critical strike, is, well, first of all, your resources feel much better to play with. The Breath build was about building up obliterates and then popping in Breath and then slamming obliterate until you can't obliterate anymore, completely ignoring certain abilities for a good duration. Afterwards, your rotation doesn't really matter until the next time you have Breath available, as that was majority of your damage. So then you had very sluggish obliterates, very sluggish to acquire frost strikes, and overall a very sluggish playstyle until the next time you want to go overdrive into Breath. This build gives you a little bit more control to the player, a faster playstyle because of all that haste. The rune generation is quite high, and that also allows you to play a slightly different build that focuses even further on rune generation. This is what your classic talent build for a Frost Death Knight is gonna look like, and there are a couple changes that you can make throughout this build. First of all, this build is going to be focusing on Ice Cap. This is going to be the priority talent to create this build. So for that row, slot in Ice Cap and forget the rest. A couple things that make this build also notable is going to be Murderous Efficiency, which again plays with your rune generation. Because of all that extra haste, there's a lot more chances for you to proc Killing Machine, and Killing Machine, since it has a lot more procs, has a higher chance to generate back runes, which creates a very nice feedback loop when it comes to playing the basic rotation of the Frost DK. And of course, you have a very interesting potential in a build above Ice Cap, where you can either go for a stronger Morsel's Winter for extra sustained damage, or you can literally blow enemies away with a massive, powerful Drake that flies from the air, blasting ice at your foes. And in this build in particular, the combo is pretty explosive. To make this build work, we'll be using Icy Citadel, which at the end of a Pillar of Frost gives you quite a good strength buff. So the more haste and critical strike we have, the more abilities we can sink in, and the more of those abilities crit, the longer this buff lasts. And this buff has a pretty decent duration, to the point where you can actually overlap Ice Cap together with Pillar of Frost for a couple of seconds. The better your gear, which there's a good chance you guys might have better gear than mine, the longer you can overlap those two strength buffs. If you're someone who's a fan of Mythic Pluses, you can even add to your trait list to stack Frostwhelp's Indignation. Not only will you overlap your strength buffs, because of all that extra strength, your Frostwhelp will also fire off better frost damage in front of you, and all that extra mastery further increases all the frost-based abilities, especially everything that does massive burst. And if you already weren't excited enough, pair this together with Blood of the Enemy. Since in patch 8.3 essences are far easier to acquire, Blood of the Enemy will be the only major you need in order to see some insanely big numbers. The best part of this build is just how simple the rotation is. It's really all about spamming Obliterates, Frost Strikes, as well as getting your Howling Blast procs in. So it really is all about timing and paying attention to your abilities, what abilities are available, what procs you have, and if you need to dump your runic power with Frost Strikes. There are moments with this build where sometimes it might feel overwhelming, the amount of abilities that are getting thrown at you. But because of the haste heavy, crit heavy playstyle, you have the globals to really get through every ability. It's a much better alternative in my opinion than the breath build, where sometimes you just have to wait until your runes recover, and that could be just literally 3 seconds of not having to press a single button. This build is all about chaining different procs for strength into one another. If you have Icy Citadel running from the last Pillar of Frost, tagged together with the current Pillar of Frost, and during the Pillar of Frost, every time you spend a rune, your strength is further increased. Maybe your offhand enchant also gives you extra strength. Just pop up Blood of the Enemy and throw in every single powerful spell like Chains of Ice. With a talent, it does extra damage up to and more than 300,000. This makes for a very interesting playstyle where you have to manage a bunch of different procs, so having weak auras to manage all the different buffs uptimes is almost necessary for this playstyle. However, if you are able to manage all these buffs and take advantage of a given situation, you're able to receive some quite insane numbers that are great for single target, but also great in AoE situations. Now, I have been playing my Frost Death Knight here and there as an alt, and as I'm trying to get all my alts in Mythic Plus key for the week, trying to see if I can get them into some heroic runs for the raids, there are a few specs that will really start to lean on towards more as I get them better gear and better understanding of some of the new playstyles. And Frost DK playstyle I feel like is insanely fun. This is probably the most fun I've had with Frost DK ever since I kind of got used to the breath build. I didn't like it, but once you get used to it, the numbers do shine, and you know, as a DPS, you like seeing great big numbers. But this playstyle, honestly, so much better. Miles better in my personal opinion. The only thing the Frost DK right now misses is having a massive two-hander instead of 2 twigs in each hand. Honestly, I feel like it would just look better and feel better to combine the damage of all your Obliterates and Frost Strikes into one massive hit. Hoping the Shadowlands gives Death Knights at least the ability to run a two-hander, even if it's less of a meta playstyle. I believe a lot of players would enjoy something like that. But anyway guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. This is my Frost Death Knight and how I play it, and I've been enjoying my Frost Death Knight a ton as an alt. It still is an alt that doesn't have the most amount of gear. However, I do have a guildie in my guild that understands Frost Death Knight pretty well, and I'm trying to kind of follow in their footsteps in order to try to craft the spec as best as possible. And I've been having a lot of fun with it so far. The damage I think it puts out is great, and the main thing that I enjoy about it is how it has more player control. If I'm good at the spec and great at the rotation and managing all those buffs, I'll have good damage. If I suck at it, which is something I can improve upon, then I will do low damage. But at least it's something where gear isn't the only thing that's going to be limiting me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on the Frost Death Knight, and I'll see all of you guys in another video.